I am determined to ensure a strong UN-Japan partnership for the future. The true hallmark of partnership is revealed in times of crisis. And our world today is rocked by conflicts, climate chaos, and inequality. Inflation is rising, and the cost of living crisis is deepening, made worse by the conflict in the Middle East, which is sending prices for energy and raw materials, including fertilizers, skyrocketing. It is essential to immediately reestablish the freedom of navigation in and around the Strait of Hormuz, and to end all ceasefire violations and create the conditions for a political solution to the conflict. Sometimes create conflicts themselves. With the strong support of Japan, I'm convinced we can weather today's storms and restore global trust in what we can achieve by standing as one. And by implementing the Seville commitment on financing for development agreed last year to supercharge financing for development while providing new tools for effective debt relief. But the most important reform that needs to be established is the reform of the UN Security Council, whose composition does not guarantee the legitimacy and effectiveness that obviously are dramatically affected by the fact that the permanent members have 3 Europeans, 1 Asian, when Asia today has at least half of the world's population, 1 North American, but no African nor Latin America. And that use their veto power in the security. The United Nations remains the essential, one-of-a-kind meeting ground to advance peace, sustainable development and human rights. 8 decades after our founding, we can draw a direct line between the creation of the UN and the prevention of a 3rd World War. But our organization is only strong as member states' commitment to it. For 70 years, the goals of Japan and the goals of the United Nations have been strongly aligned. Across the decades, the UN has benefited enormously from Japan's generosity and commitment to the multilateral system. And Japan has successfully leveraged its role at the United Nations to grow its diplomatic influence and build economic prosperity and peace through a stable and cooperative global system.
Please identify yourself and your organization and proceed to the question.
If one looks at the worst conflicts, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the dramatic situation in Gaza, and the recent bombardment of Iran by Israel and the United States, the voice of the Secretary General has never been silenced. And we were able to defend always the primacy of international law, to condemn the violations of international law without double standards, and that has constituted a fundamental instrument of credibility for those that are at the head of an organization like the UN. We were never corrupted by fear or by the need to be nice to the most powerful in the world. Increase in the number of conflicts around the world. I'm not going to ask Japan and China to pay the American quota. I insist for the United States to pay what is due to the UN. It is clear that we have a meaningful number of arrears. If we count peacekeeping and regular budget, those arrears are above $3 billion. If you count only the regular budget, they are $1 billion something dollars. And obviously, this money was necessary. And the fact that this money did not exist has translated itself, as I said, not in the collapse of the organization, but we had to shrink, we had to reduce our activities, and the price was largely paid by those that received assistance from the UN, which means there is more hunger, which means there is less vaccination, which means there is less support to water and sanitation, which means more people die.
会場の皆さん